So in 2010, I had a bit of a Eureka moment. The idea that we could use brine electrolysis with carbon dioxide aeration together to sequester carbon dioxide. And we could make hydrogen gas for energy storage, and we could eliminate the brine discharge associated with the desalination station. So I was wondering if anybody had been working with this reaction, salt plus water plus carbon dioxide plus electricity goes to making hydrogen gas, chlorine gas products, and sodium bicarbonate, baking soda solid. I spoke with a Carnegie Mellon physical chemist, and he told me that Dow had looked into this reaction as a carbon sequestration process, but didn't pursue it. And the reason was that they didn't think there was enough market for some of the chlorine products. And I'll point out that this might be a limitation to the method in terms of the production of chlorine products, that they're marketable, but you're producing a large quantity. And they also Dow thought that the energy penalty was too high, meaning the energy that it takes to drive this reaction in total made it too expensive to be worthwhile. But he said, you're talking about the Skyonic process. Now, Skyonic is a company that was founded about the same time as I was having this moment in 2010. I think they may have been formed a year or two before that. And they have the patents on the electrolysis process, and they've already developed this technology and have applied it to a cement plant in San Antonio, Texas. So they're doing this process already, and they say they can scale it up to power plants. So I called Skyonic and I asked them about their process and their use of this reaction, and they said they had just completed a demo scale and that they had just won a $28 million Department of Energy grant to do a project scale project, and they're currently capturing 75,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide off of a cement plant in San Antonio, Texas. I asked them, where do you get your salt for the process? And they said, we mix it. I just about fell out of my chair. They're taking fresh water and they're mixing salt to do this process to capture carbon dioxide. Don't mix the salt. Couple it with ocean desalination. We've got too much salt in water already. The rest of the presentation, I just wanted to work out the feasibility of the process, combining the ocean desalination as proposed at Huntington Beach with the AES power plant, the Poseidon desalination process and the salt that it produces, and to see if there's enough salt using the Skyonic process, using this reaction that electrolyzes salt and water and aerates CO2 through it to produce hydrogen gas and solid carbonate, if there's enough salt to do this process for the plant on the ocean in Huntington Beach. And I just basically weighted the sodium chloride salt and the CO2 mole per mole. It's about 1.33 mass per mass. The AES plant carbon dioxide total mass, as we calculated before, is 11,933 metric tons a day. That's a 904 megawatt power plant producing CO2 at the rate of a natural gas power plant. The Poseidon sodium chloride mass, as we calculated, just sodium chloride, is 15,009 metric tons per day. And so if we weight that on the mass per mass ratio that we have there, we need a CO2 equivalent mass of 11,301 metric tons per day. So we're a little bit short on the salt that we need, but there are other salts, but that's just sodium chloride, and there are other salts in the water that are available. So basically the salt production from the desalination station, and these people are working independently. Poseidon is not working with AES. They're just sharing the property and the ocean intakes. But if you can combine these two economic entities and get them to agree to work together, the desalination process, the Poseidon desalination process, is producing enough salt to sequester the carbon dioxide output of the power plant, the complete CO2 output of the entire power plant, not just the amount that of energy equivalent to the desalination process. Looking at the budget from a water perspective, you get to produce more fresh water from the process. You get the extra 65 megagallon per day that was going to go out to the ocean with salt in it is now available to, once you remove the solute salts and to produce the solid carbonate minerals, you are left with the 65 megagallon per day of additional fresh water. Also, if you're capturing the CO2 out of the stack, you can also capture the water from burning the fuel. And this is not a trivial amount. A couple of arguments there about weighting the CO2 output to the water output. But in general, if you're burning a methane plus oxygen to water, and you know the CO2 output in metric tons a day, we already calculated that, we come up with 9,769 additional metric tons of water per day if you can capture it from burning the fuel. And there's water treatment on site. In fact, you have chlorine products which can be used for sanitation, and you're also already doing the desalination process with reverse osmosis membranes. The water from hydrogen, you're producing some hydrogen, and of course if you oxidize that, you get some water, either by burning it or using it in a fuel cell. But that's not that significant. It probably would be best to use the hydrogen to convert chlorine gas products into chloroacids, like hydrochloric acid.